This episode,
James gets 32 points on his bench a week early.
you're supposed to hit bench boost.
Oh, fuck.
The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello listeners, welcome to episode 57 of the second season of Planet #FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
My name is James.
Are you sure?
Yeah, just about.
And we're back. It's in between the Wildcard week, which was for so many players the week where they play their Wildcard, and we're now a couple of days away from Bench Boost week for many chunky chip players. Champions League first couple of games finished yesterday. Bye-bye Manchester United.
Bye-bye.
See ya later. And then the other three British clubs are in action today. English clubs.
British clubs.
You know, just being fair. Liverpool and you are going to Manchester. James is all set, ready with his little bag to go to Manchester Etihad Stadium to watch the Champions League semi-final today.
Fucking bricking it.
And before you get on the train, we thought it's time to record a podcast. Final game of the game week finished yesterday. Cardiff 2, Brighton 0. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of painful laughter. Anyway, it's like, what else can you do but laugh in this episode?
Mate, nothing.
So many horror stories on Twitter, but also so many really good scores as well. Some people did do well this game week.
Yeah, everybody who didn't wildcard.
We're going to get into the game week 34, a kind of game week 34 review. I think the best thing is to review our wildcards and why we chose and ended up with the teams that we did. And how we did, and what our plan is now going into Bench Boost, and then literally 3 game weeks left. And we're into the final stretch of the season. Yeah, sound good? We've got some Twitter questions as well to go for. Just one quick announcement. So you know how you gave me this stat, only 30% of people listen to the end of a podcast.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we should get our main news and biggest announcement at the beginning of the podcast so we get more listeners to listen to it.
Go on then.
Any plans for the FA Cup final?
None.
What date's the FA Cup final?
Oh, I don't know. We ain't in it.
Is
it like the 18th of May or
18th
something?
of May.
Is
18th
that right?
of May at 5 p.m.
City Watford.
Manchester City Watford at Wembley Stadium. And so if you're a City fan and Watford fan, you may be going to watch the game or be watching it on telly. How's about we record a live podcast 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Editor's Tap in Holborn with a live audience of FPL listeners.
I love that. How about, you sound like you've got it planned.
What about if we were to do Planet FPL Live?
We need a Martin Tyler voiceover at this point.
Yeah, I've got him on speed dial. I'll give him a ring.
Yeah, you do that.
So if you haven't got the drift, we are doing Planet FPL Live. We've booked it in, and I can't tell you, we're super excited. This is going to be incredible.
No, it's exciting.
Yeah, there's a really cool pub called the Editor's Tap in Holborn. We'll be there from 2 till 4. We'll be there from earlier, but 2 till 4 we're going to do a live show. There's going to be some special guests. We're going to be able to wrap up the whole season because the FPL season would have finished a week earlier. There'll be food and drink there, and then once we've wrapped up the show at 4, we'll be all sitting around to watch the FA Cup final from 5 o'clock onwards. There'll be Q&A. So it's going to be really good. Really looking forward to it. A little festival of FPL on FA Cup final day with a live podcast thrown in for shits and giggles.
So now you've announced that, if someone wants to come to said live event...
Yes.
What do they need to do?
They need to find you on Twitter.
That's a good start.
Which is at Planet FPL Pod. James is going to tweet a link to a pre-registration. The venue that we've got does have a limit on capacity. We're only going to be allowing 100 people in. So you do need to pre-register if you are interested in coming down. So we'll tweet that link out, get your email address in there, and in about a week's time, we're going to be releasing all the final information. And it's not like we're going to be selling tickets for like 50 quid.
No, 100 quid.
Yeah. Where did that come from? No, we're not going to be selling tickets. At worst, it may be a £5, and if you're paying £5, you get a free drink when you arrive, or a pint, or what have you.
Yeah, we've just got to keep a limit on the numbers, just in case by some sort of weird shock there are more than 100 fucking people that want to come.
Up. Yeah, so we want to make it. I mean, it's Planet FPL Live, so we will be doing a live show with Q&A and a few other features that we're working on at the moment, putting together. But we want to make it a festival of FPL, kind of bringing the community together and end the season just kind of nice kind of drinks. And it's
just an excuse to meet up and have a beer.
Exactly. And it's cup final day. It's a Saturday. People want to travel in from outside of London and what have you. It's going to be really good. And it's a really nice venue as well. I went down there yesterday. We went through kind of how we'd lay it out and stuff. Really nice. Got some nice beers, ciders all on tap. Really good menu. So looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. 18th of May.
A lot of ales, haven't they?
They got ales. They got craft beers. They got the lot. They got it. 18th of May. So put it in your diary. We're going to be tweeting about it, and we'll be talking about it a lot between now and the end of the season because we're excited. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. For no other reason we're doing it than bringing the community together and having a bit of fun. So make sure you spread the word. And if you can come down, then all the better. Why not? A weekend in London.
Yes.
Or Planet FPL Live.
I'm looking forward to it.
And now that the good, fun news is out of the way,
let's talk about the shit news.
Game week 34. Where should we start? Let's start with you, because you did a little worse than me.
Just end the fucking podcast, I think.
Yes.
I finished on the grand total of 40 points for a game week rank of 5,060,000.
Oof.
This is possibly the biggest car crash week I've ever known in terms of being unlucky. So I'll take you.
I had a question for you.
Go on.
Have you ever had a game week where you've had two players sent off in the same game week?
Not that I can recall.
I don't think I've ever had two players sent off in the same game week.
I'm not sure if I've had a player sent off all season. I'm not sure.
I think I had Pogba when he was sent off earlier in the season.
I can't even remember that.
But I feel like maybe that could have been a memory of last season. But two players sent off in the same game week. I think it so rarely happens.
Yeah, but
so tell us about it. How does it feel?
It's nothing I can do about it but laugh. And there's bigger car crash than just the two red cards. So on my wild card, what I did in the end, defensively, it was quite similar to what I said I'd do on the pod. So I went Lloris and Foster. I picked the right goalkeeper. I obviously went with Luiz.
Yep.
Defensively, I started this weekend with a back three of Robertson. Laporte was obviously close to the clean sheet. And like everybody else who wildcarded, sorry to rain on your parade, I went with Duffy.
Mm-hmm.
I decided not to go with Dunk as well. This sounds like the good news at this point. I just didn't want to walk into 35 with two Brighton defensively, is what I decided. And I couldn't see the want to take out Duffy, as I know he'll play twice, and we'll cover that in a bit more detail during the pod. Defensively, my other two defenders I went for were Yoshida on the bench, assist.
Yeah.
Willy Bolly on the bench, goal. In midfield, I went for Son and Eriksen. Kevin De Bruyne is the only real good news out of my week. It was a gamble based on his ability rather than anything numbers pressed.
Yeah.
And I went with Anthony Knockaert. What a fucking bellend. The most stupid tackle ever.
Yeah.
And my fifth midfielder I left on the bench just happened to be Nathan Redmond with a 15-point return. And up front, I went with Jimenez, Captain Glenn Murray, and Troy Deeney.
Would you have been better off captaining Duffy? I don't think so, right? You're better off captaining...
No, Duffy got 1 point. Murray got 3.
3, yeah. There you go. So there you go. Troy Deeney got sent off.
As tweeted by FPL Heisenberg last night, Heung-min Son got in 3 minutes what Duffy and Dunk got in 2 games. Which the official FPL account has nicked his tweet, by the way. Just saying, hashtag.
So, overall, pretty disappointing. The week after a wildcard to walk into that. I mean, let's be honest, so many people had Brighton assets and Brighton screwed everyone over. I mean, a 7-0 aggregate defeat over those 2 games, 2 home games. It goes to show that sometimes we overthink things and try and get a bit too clever. We should have remembered that Brighton, on the whole, are pretty shit.
But actually, it's not overthinking, is it? It's looking at the fixtures and going, they've got 2 home games. They need some points here.
Yeah.
There's nobody in the world is expecting them to lose 5-0 at home to Bournemouth. And then obviously that changes the whole mood. And from what I saw of the game last night, it looked like Cardiff won quite comfortably. Like, it was shit.
Yeah.
So the irony of Morrison scoring was not lost, because we all looked at him at the start of the season. His price came out at 5 million. He'd scored some goals in the Championship last year. Hadn't scored all season, and he was the big centre-half who got the goal and the clean sheet.
Yeah.
And basically nobody went down that route. There was only 4 players who've got a 35 double who were in the team of the week. Bolly, sitting on my bench. Redmond, sitting on my bench. Pogba, sold from my wild card. And Lucas Mora, who obviously tore it up Saturday lunchtime.
Yeah.
And the reason I never went with him is because I thought Son would start against Huddersfield. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if I'd genuinely thought Son wouldn't have played, I'd have gone with Son and Lucas rather than Son and Ericsson.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's about 60-odd points there.
Ouch.
Yeah, fuck it, mate.
I wasn't much better, to be honest with you. I ended up with 45 points, which feels could have been worse now, coming off the back of Camarassa's assist yesterday. But my game week rank was 4.3 million. I've had an overall rank drop of 100,000, 628 to 728, which wasn't great, but based on how it could have ended up with what happened, I think I'll take it. I put Ryan in goal over Luiz. I thought, with Luiz there was the 1 clean sheet in him. With Ryan, there was 1 clean sheet plus a game in him, or was there? There was fucking 7 goals conceded. I, like everyone else, had Duffy, Laporte, and Robertson, like you. Robertson, I had the choice of Robertson or Trent to stick with. Ended up sticking with Robertson because there was value in there, and I mean, he's
surprised you did that. 'Cause I know you're a big fan of Trent, aren't you?
Yeah, he's all right, but I think Robbo's I've had since the start of the season. And I do feel like I want to keep at least 1 player for the whole season. Laporte, I mean, City, flipping hell.
He's the only shot Palace had, basically.
So annoying. It was so annoying. I tell you why, and we'll come on to it in a sec. But then my midfield, Son as captain. Obviously, really disappointing to see him on the bench, and even more disappointing that he came on in the last 2 minutes. But then that assist was like, oh, fair play. And he's done it a few times this season, last-minute goal, late goals or late assists to pick up some points. So happy with Son. I mean, 8 points from my captain when you've got so many people that captain Brighton assets. I'll have Camarasa, a nice assist yesterday, which put him on 7 points. I had Raheem Sterling. I haven't owned Raheem all season.
Is that right? Where have you been?
Exactly. I've had Aguero or other City assets, and I hadn't owned Raheem all season. When I bought him in on Wildcard, I was like, I needed a City asset. The choice was Aguero or Raheem Sterling, and I went with Raheem Sterling for reliability and consistency. Based on the match, I listened to the match, and I thought from the commentary, Aguero sounded not on form.
No, really wasn't.
So he's more likely to be rotated. Raheem's is just consistent now, so good, and also he seems to be carrying a knock for bits and pieces of it.
Who's that?
Raheem. Like, it wasn't 100%. He was hobbling a little bit at the end of the first half, second.
No, I don't.
Okay, the radio commentators were bullshitting then. I had Eden Hazard. Nothing from him.
You listening to that fucking TalkSport again?
The golf was on 5 Live.
Right.
Tiger. We'll talk about him later. So Raheem got me points. Eden Hazard, nothing. Rashford benched. Great, thanks. So he only played a small part in the robbery that was Saturday evening. And Firmino, no points. Jimenez, no points. But overall, Raheem got me out of it. Robertson got me some points. Camarasa got me some points, and that was it. Scraped through 45. Reasonably happy with that. I went out for a run on Sunday. For all of there's now about 75 people who are part of the FPL community. The vast majority of, at least 70 of them I've never met in my life, have now sponsored me. We've raised over £1,250.
It's fucking unbelievable.
Mental. So I went out for a run. I did a good 10.5 miles, and that was an hour and 45, and I listened to the City the City game. It was pretty dull, to be honest. But I tell you what, I ran the 2 kilometres, the one where Raheem scored his first goal, and the second kilometre where he scored his second goal. I ran a little bit faster. And
As long as you're happy.
I finished my run when Palace scored and Laporte's clean sheet points had disappeared. I was like, annoying. So I had the awkward decisions that I had to make in the end were between Pogba and Rashford. I wanted to only keep one of them. I ended up getting rid of Pogba because I wanted Son, who got benched, and I kept Rashford, who got benched. So those two decisions didn't go my way. I'm happy with both of them for the double game week, though. Rashford, I think, was one of United's best players yesterday, and he always is when he comes on. Even against us when he came on, he had that shot across that Fabianski saved and stuff. That boy's lively. I do like Rashford, so happy to have him. Son was benched, which means he'll play tonight, but then I also think he'll hopefully play in your 2 double game week fixtures because you do need the points for top 4. So overall, I'm going into the bench boost week reasonably happy. I've got 3 single game week players: Firmino, Robertson, and Hazard. Firmino and Robertson are at home to Huddersfield, isn't it?
Away to Cardiff,
away
Liverpool.
to Cardiff, sorry.
Chelsea at home to Burnley.
Chelsea
Monday
to
night.
Burnley. So those 3 I'm happy with.
Yeah, it's fine.
As single game week, and I just need to make one transfer, which is Victor Camarasa is going to go now. He was a 1 week punt. And it's a simple A or B. Do I go to Redmond? Redmond or Ward-Prowse, but I'm earing towards Redmond.
It changed now after the weekend, have we?
Yeah, for sure. Or do I go to Will Hughes, who's a little bit more of a punt, but with Troy Deeney now suspended? Potentially, I think he's a good player. The problem is, like, Will Hughes, he scored 2 goals all season and he's only created 3 assists.
5 attacking returns, is it?
Yeah, nothing. So it is a bit of a punt.
I owned Will Hughes at the start of the season.
Did
me fine as sort of like 5th midfielder on the bench kind of job and bring me 2 or 3s.
I prefer Watford's fixtures. I think Watford will do better than Southampton.
Delafeu, if he's pass fit?
I haven't got the money.
Oh, really?
From
sure.
Camarasa, I can't get to Delafeu.
Oh, no, of course, yeah.
That would be too easy. Yeah. So Will Hughes is 4.9, Redmond 5.3. So it literally is as simple as that. That's the only choice I have to make. I'm not making any other changes. I'll keep Duffy and Ryan. I'm not interested in taking hits to get them out. And whack the bench boost on and cross my fingers and pray for the best.
And as for me...
Big changes.
I've got to dump out Knockout and Deeney, haven't I?
Yeah.
The first thing to say is I am still going to bench boost this weekend.
Okay.
I've looked into the pros of what is my cap playing, and a few others had mentioned the idea of the 36 single game week as a bench boost, because if you're stuck with the Brighton players, have Newcastle at home, while Southampton have Bournemouth at home, and they're going to be the makeup of a lot of like sort of bench boosts this week. So I can see the theory behind that. My biggest problem with that, and it's not so much the bench, but obviously if you have a player on your starting team in 36 who's left out,
yeah,
you've lost a player straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas really this weekend, unless there's a late injury or something, you're going to have 15 players playing
2 matches.
Well, at least, like, for example, the single players you'll have this weekend that you'd be considered. So say you've got Robertson, Firmino, Hazard.
Yep.
They're all going to start.
Yep.
There's no question. Eden Hazard's a serious consideration for me on what I've seen the last 2 game weeks, back in my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I would possibly I think if I got Hazard, I'd captain him with that fixture Monday night. I don't think I will go down that route, but I think that would that'll make up for the double. When I look at a few other people have said to me, are you considering the bench boost 36 and now triple captain 35? I don't think the captaincy options this weekend are great. No. I think a lot of that's going to depend on what happens in the City Spurs game tonight. So, I mean, if Aguero is suddenly left out, then he becomes a really good double game week captaincy option. I wouldn't see Aguero playing tonight, Saturday, Wednesday, personally. So, at the moment, as it would stand, as I said last week, I'm probably going to captain Jimenez in a double game week because it's safe and I know in any game we can return. The difference for me to most others is if my wildcard sounded weak, it's because I left 9.7 million in the bank. So I've basically got about 20 odd million to play with to replace Knockout and Deeney, which feels quite powerful. And what I'll do with that is I will definitely target a City player if they go out tonight. If not, I'm not sure. It's very dependent on, I think, what Arsenal's team lineup is tomorrow night as well. So if Aubameyang's left out at Napoli, then that becomes very tempting. I have no idea who I'm bringing in this weekend. It's going to be some power, but I also know I want to move towards like Mane in 36. And Cardiff's result last night makes me less keen to consider. I could go just Mane and Firmino. But that result for Cardiff last night gives them a real shot at staying up now.
Yeah,
so I'm less keen to go for Liverpool now.
I feel bad getting rid of Camarasa after he's just got me a return, and Cardiff are really right in there.
It's the right move, though.
It is, but they're really in with a chance, because I can just buy him back a week later if I really wanted Victor Camarasa.
You wouldn't.
No, you're right. I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
For me, captaincy-wise, you're right. Hazard is a interesting option if you are willing to take a punt on a single game week player. But for me, it's going to be more than likely Son. Son or Sterling.
If you take Son, the biggest fear with Spurs going into this double game week, particularly if we go through tonight, I would just write off the league game Saturday and pick a stronger team against Brighton on Tuesday. Because if this time next week we've lost at City and we've won against Brighton, we have to beat Brighton.
Yeah.
Then we'd still be ahead of where we were, essentially. We might drop behind Arsenal, but we can't lose any ground, therefore, on Chelsea, for example. The fear would be that, obviously, some of the big Spurs hitters, if they play against City, if they play tonight and then play against Saturday, then don't play that Brighton fixture. And it's a bit lost. I do think Spurs, particularly if we go through tonight, will make mass changes on Saturday, which will add to the City appeal. So I've really got my eye on, say, if Sane doesn't play tonight. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be a great punt for Saturday. And that applies to, obviously, Aguero, Sterling's, etc. as well.
Really interesting. Jan, Valerie has a flag on him at the moment on the game, 75%. And now it's an awkward, tricky thing, right? Do you take a hit to get out a player who may not play at 4.1 million? Is it worth it?
Well, you raise a good point, because what you've got to do with this game week, and I've seen people who last weekend already transferred in Troy Deeney.
Yeah.
Before getting sent off, and that's a disaster. And a week like this, ahead of a bench boost, you cannot even consider the value. You have got to wait on the team news.
Yeah,
that has got to be the priority, even if it possibly means you might be going for your second choice. I think you've got to wait. So the news on Valerie's a great example, because he'd be in a lot of wildcard teams. Ben Dunnery had said that he came off late in the game, and it was mainly just through cramp. Now the fear of that is, will he potentially play twice, right?
Yeah.
Is the possible
but
concern.
I mean,
bearing in mind they play Saturday, Tuesday, but I think it's fine, go with it.
I've got 27 matches potentially out of my 15 players. If I got 22, 23, I'd be happy. I think that's the kind of number that I'm going with. 22 players, each with 2 appearance points plus the captain. You're at 45 points, 46 points before you consider getting any returns.
The ones you expect the 2 gains from more than anyone is obviously your keeper and your centre halves and that. And that's why I think I'm going to stick with Duffy.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Duffy.
Is my instinct.
I'm not going to take a hit to get him out.
No, of course, I don't see him getting any returns at Wolves away or Spurs away, but it would be just so typical FPL, wouldn't it? To sell him and he returns. And you shouldn't hold on to a player for that reason. I would say
fear is not a good reason to keep someone.
If you're really happy with your team and Duffy is the player you want to get out, I'm fine with that. Get him out. I'm not going to take a hit to remove him. Now, what I might do is take a hit to remove Glenn Murray, because it don't look like scoring goals at the moment, and him I would only see playing once.
Yeah.
So it could be that I'll go -8 this week, take out Murray, Deeney, Knockout, and I've got 26 odd million to make changes for this week, and having a real consideration on the fact that I will definitely be steaming into Liverpool in 36.
Sure. Let's go through the game, shall we? As we always do. I think we can keep it nice and brief, because some of these teams now, from an FPL point of view, are drifting very quickly out of consideration with only 35, 36, 37, 4 game weeks to go.
Yeah, no, there's quite a few we can write off.
You know what's happening after 4 game weeks? Live show. Just reminding you. So Leicester 0, Newcastle 1. I didn't see this coming off Leicester's form. I thought, a home tie, they'd be all right. I mean, Newcastle are not a bad side this season. I've been really impressed based on the budget that Rafa has and the squad that he has. He's done a great job with that.
I had a great feeling after the game Friday night that this was going to be a storming game week for me. Because I think for us wildcarders, Leicester was a real concern with Vardy, Tielemans' form, Maddison's form, that they could have quite a few returns in that game. And Newcastle did what they've done in so many away games this year and got a goal and frustrated. Their away record is really good this year, Newcastle. I think they've had a lot of draws, but haven't lost too many. Mm-hmm. I think it's only maybe 2 away to teams outside the top 6 that they've lost. One was at yourself, and I think there's another one I can't remember off the top of my head. But they'll be safe now. I don't think think we ever thought they'd be in real trouble.
Let's be honest,
Newcastle.
right now it's Cardiff or Brighton that are going down. One of the two.
Southampton are the only ones sort of in still and around it, but playing too well at the moment. So.
They're not going down.
And Hassan Hootel's quote after the game saying he was really serious, like there's work to do, made me feel positive about their assets for the double game week. I think a lot of people were obviously going to move off Leicester. There's quite a few, as I said last week, would hold through, say Vardy, captained him potentially last week, and we're looking to either sell now or sell next game week. Let's obviously go to yourselves this weekend.
I will be there.
If you had Jamie Vardy, what would you be doing?
If I own Jamie Vardy?
Yeah.
Well, it's such a bit of a difficult question in the sense that it depends who else you've got in your squad and what have you.
But if you could move, say you had the money to move from Vardy to Lacazette, would you make that move?
Yes, without doubt, because it's a single game week. Balbuena was back on the weekend. I thought he did okay, and he does give us a little bit more defensive stability. So yeah, I would think so.
But Lacazette, we assume, having had Monday night off, will play in Naples tomorrow night. Therefore, probably only plays one in a double. So
that's an assumption. I don't think you can make those assumptions. Arsenal need the points just as much as anyone.
I don't think there's any attacking Arsenal player that's going to play Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. Not all 3 of them.
They need the points. I don't agree with you. I think even if it's half games, they will all get appearance and minutes. So Aubameyang and Lacazette can get you a return in 20 minutes. So I wouldn't be put off by Arsenal attacking returns.
Yeah, it's not out of doubt
I just don't
for
think
me.
They're that good. It's not for me not picking Arsenal players is not because whether or not they'll play. It's just I don't think they're that good. They're the better options and better teams available to pick from.
It's not out of my thinking this week, just on them quickly, is to go for Aubameyang and Lacazette. Have them both. Know that they can return any game. They'll probably both only play once.
But if you do that, you're taking real hits now.
Well, yeah, and I'll remove one for Firmino the following week, depending on how their rotation's been. Make the decision from there.
So, because you've got to make one midfielder and one attacker. So now you're talking about 2 attackers. So suddenly you're in 2 hits. You're in a -8.
Yeah, Murray's got to go as well, I think. Yeah. There's no point holding on to him.
Yeah. This is it's painful.
Well, this will be good experience for me because I'm such a cautious player. My FPL season is long over anyway, now down to 250k. Oof. I need to get into the understanding of what this feels like to be taking hits and gambles a little bit more because I need to be doing it more next season.
Let's move on. Talking about gambles, a few people picked Lucas Mora and a few people put the armband on him as well. Obviously, when you jump on Twitter, you see all the people that are crowing about what a great pick he was, and I don't deny that he was a good pick, but I'm not putting him in the bracket of a good strategic pick. I'm putting in the bracket of a calculated gamble that paid off and could just as easily have not. So yeah, when you make a strategic move because you've thought it through, I think it's a little more. You get a little more credit. When you just take a punt, you get less credit, but fair play, 3 goals and 3 great finishes. He seemed lively, he seemed on it. And the crowd, again, you were there, atmosphere, again, rocking.
No, it wasn't like, after the City game, it was always going to be a bit flat. But the crowd really stayed with the team quite vocally, more than, I'd say if you'd said the game was at Wembley or White Hart Lane in previous, the atmosphere would have been quite muted, 12:30 on a Saturday, home to Huddersfield. The crowd were right on it until the second goal, and then it calmed down because it was like, okay, fine, we've fucking won.
You're won now.
Yeah. In hindsight, Mora and Son was the way to go for Spurs, knowing that you were definitely going to have one who was going to play out of position, basically. Mora's going to play a lot between now and the end of the season. And I would suggest that if he plays a lot of minutes tonight at City, he's still a good pick for this weekend, potentially. If he doesn't start the game for tonight, then there's every chance that he plays at City on Saturday and doesn't play against Brighton, in which case he's a bad pick. I can't give you the answer to that. I assume that Mora will play tonight because we haven't got a defensive midfielder tonight unless he wants to go with Wanyama, which I don't think he'll want to.
No.
Son...
You're on Ericsson and Son at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't really want to go for Ericsson, but it's knowing what the capability and the reliability, and also know that he'll probably play twice as well in the double. Ericsson is one of the few Spurs players who I think conceivably could play all of the 3 games in the Wednesday, Saturday.
The general consensus is now Ali's playing deeper and Ericsson's playing further forward.
I think there's a chance with Ali. Those who watched the first leg against City will have known that Ali played centre forward in the last 20 minutes or so, and Son and Mora played really wide, similar to how sort of City would set up with Sane and Sterling. And I think there's a possibility Spurs might do that again tonight. I wouldn't see, with the fixtures Spurs have got left, I wouldn't see Ali playing as a false 9. But in Kane's absence, I would expect Ali to be playing further forward. I think tonight, Ericsson and Ali will both probably play quite deep out of necessity. That doesn't mean that's how it's going to be for the remaining games, because playing City away to the remaining fixtures we've got are 2 different beasts.
Yeah. Next, move on to the next game. Brighton 0, Bournemouth 5.
You're not considering Huddersfield players?
Not considering Huddersfield
like
players.
Manchild, who wildcarded, got 55 points, I believe, in a wildcard team that included Christopher Schindler. And he started him, by the way. Phil Jones, he's still got Ashley Westwood, and he's still got more points than us.
He's 6 points behind me right now.
Surprise, motherfucker.
If you saw Manchild's wildcard team, you would die, and he's probably got more points than you this week.
Yeah, 55 points. You know what? We'll do it. Let's do it. Let's talk about Manchild's team.
Go on, have you got it up?
Manchild's going to be at Planet FPL Live. So he is now 6 points behind me.
Christopher Schindler.
He had Alisson in goal.
I'm pretty sure Christopher Schindler was not in his squad like previously. It's not someone he's made, cut the transfer and left it.
I'm not sure. He picked him because of the movie Schindler's List, I think. He's got Alisson in goal, Robertson. So we'll probably do this on the live show. So do come and listen. And we're going to get Manchild to mansplain his team. He's picked Alisson because it's a girl's name.
Yeah.
He's picked Robertson because it sounds like Robinson's and what's not to like about cordial.
Okay.
He's got Mane and Sane in Sane and the Mane.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's fair play. I'm not sure why he's got Ramsey, Lukaku. He's got Lukaku, Jimenez and Aguero as his front line. Ramsey, Mane, Sane, Ryan Fraser, 16-point haul there. And then, Jones, Robertson, Schindler as his back 3. Alisson. On the bench, he has Norris. Ain't going to get any points.
That'll be good for his bench boost.
Mariappa, Westwood, and Bennett.
Brilliant.
So he's going to play his... I don't know if he's going to play his bench boost this week.
What a team.
What a team.
There's no point this prick playing a bench boost, to be very honest with you. There's no point at all. By the way, do you know how many points your Game Week 33 team would have got if you left it?
I didn't look.
I didn't work it out, but I'd have been close to 100.
Really?
Yeah.
Ouch. I had
Wilson, Fraser, Metham, Anderson, Pogba.
I had Brooks.
Robertson, Alexander-Arnold.
Pogba and Anderson. I had my Bournemouth players were Brooks and...
Mane.
I had Brooks and Josh King. So,
Not Mane, Salah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
I'd have fucking killed it.
That's so disappointing, isn't it?
Planet FPL wifey, Captain Pogba. Well done, love. Yeah. Anyway, next game.
So, who...
Is it time for Brighton?
Yeah, go on then.
Let's. Do you know what? Let's skip Brighton. We'll talk about Brighton at the end. Just Bournemouth.
Okay, let's do that. Because the thing with Bournemouth... the thing with the game when I watched the highlights was that they basically defended awfully Brighton. They were like passing it through them and scoring.
It got opened up in a way, Brighton, that they don't normally get opened up. It was the biggest away win in the Premier League, not involving a top 6 side, since Swansea won at QPR. I think it was opening day of the season about 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow. The
On
goals
Bournemouth,
just were too simple.
oh, they were walking through them.
Yeah,
they
I
looked
felt,
fit and back in it. I think. Do you know what was key for Bournemouth was Brooks was released into a position higher up the field again with Lerma back in the team. Bournemouth obviously now have Fulham this weekend.
Single game week.
Wow. It's what they're capable. I mean, it's not a consideration for me, probably because I got burnt going in on them so heavily for Newcastle in 31 and Burnley in 33 and getting fuck all out of it. So, no, there wouldn't be a consideration for me. But if you've got and you've carried it,
Hold.
and obviously if you're one of these who hasn't been on your wild card, then you're going to hold through for that, I think, definitely.
Any one of them is
Wilson
an option as well.
Wilson is a captainable option this weekend.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say, truthfully, definitely, that Jimenez in 2 home games is definitely better than Wilson at home to Fulham. Because Fulham are so bad. I mean, they obviously had a good result
Even Josh
at the weekend.
King, to be honest with you, because he can pop up with penalties as easily as Wilson can. I understand Wilson has scored more goals, but I don't think Josh King should be discounted as an option if you can't afford Wilson.
If you've carried through Bournemouth assets, I think you're carrying through.
I haven't got any. I'm a little bit jealous of those that do.
Oh, yeah, I ain't. It
Yeah.
just is what it is.
Brighton we're going to talk about when we get to the
We'll do them at the
Cardiff
end.
game, yeah.
We'll prolong the agony.
Burnley 2, Cardiff 0.
Just to cover Burnley
have got a
briefly.
great run since January. They've done really well. I can't remember, was it?
They went about 8 in a row.
30 points since the start of the season.
8 in a row without defeat, and then had some sloppy results, didn't they? But they're out of it now. That's
well and truly
important to say. They'll
And
definitely be safe.
I've got an eye on them for next season because obviously no European distractions. I think they're much more of a consideration. And Chris Wood or Ashley Barnes. Wood's had a good season.
I was going to say
now.
there was quite a bit of movement for Chris Wood in the market last week ahead of the weekend, which I didn't really understand. And then obviously
10 goals this
he
season.
scores twice.
Yeah.
Well, Barnes has probably been getting more of the headlines. They both seem a bit streaky, Wood and Barnes, that they go through this little period. That obviously they go to Chelsea Monday night, so you're not looking now. I suppose there'll be a few out there who've got Wood or Barnes, but then you'll be benching this weekend, or I think if you're bench boosting, you'd be selling.
Yeah. I'm more looking at Burnley for next season now. I don't really have him in my considerations this season, but yeah.
Yeah, McNeil, as we've said quite a few times, is the one to really keep an eye on, and played a big important role in the second goal again.
Cardiff we'll talk about when we get to Cardiff. Obviously a disappointing defeat for them. Looking at yesterday, when the thing with Cardiff is that their second goal scorer, Mendes Long, don't even know nothing about him.
Mendes Lang.
Don't know enough about any of their players to even.
You mean Mendes Lang owned by 0.0%?
Yeah.
Welcome to a double game week, princess.
Yeah. Fulham.
Yeah, didn't see that result coming.
No. One of the guys from the FML FPL has owned Babel for about 5-6 weeks. I saw a tweet that he put out, and he'd been getting grief for owning Ryan Babel. Babel's been banging in the returns, you know.
He's done well. I
Really
think
well.
that he'll get picked up. I didn't realise.
4 goals, 4 assists.
I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise. He's 32.
Yeah.
He's still quite quick. I think there's
The hair.
a few Premier League clubs will have a
I'm
look
thinking
at
of
him.
dyeing my hair red before I do the
I mean,
marathon.
look,
It's going to give me an extra bit of pace.
He'd be a good squad player for even someone like Spurs, in all honesty. He ain't come to Spurs with that fucking hair. Fuck off. It's not happening.
Yeah.
So there's a few teams in red who might be having a look. Who's shitting in red?
Liverpool. There we go.
Arsenal.
So Fulham 2, Everton 0. So Everton into the same bracket of Leicester, right? They teased us for a few weeks.
Yeah.
They teased us and then fucking do this and concede 2 goals. Who would have thought Everton going to lose away at Fulham? But we're back into this cycle of teams that are in that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, up and down yo-yo.
Well, the stat I heard before the Watford Arsenal game Monday night, I knew the result as soon as I heard it. As soon as they were just about to kick off, and the commentator said Watford can go 7th with a win tonight. And I said, that's them fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, big game for Everton this weekend. Be noisy at Goodison because Everton don't really like United. It's a big game for United because ahead of the City game they'll feel they've got to win it, and obviously Everton's recent home record has been very good. I think we've got a lot of eyes on Everton potential for next season, particularly similar to McNeil, what we've been saying about Calvert-Lewin. Really watch
I agree with
closely.
you.
But you're not buying this week.
United lose at Everton, and that's 6 and 8 defeats.
Is that right?
That's not good going.
I'd sack the manager.
Imagine the payoff after giving him a 4-year contract, sacking him 4 weeks later.
Agent Ollie. Ollie's at the wheel. He's the fucking secret agent.
He'd have lasted longer than Paul Scholes did at Oldham, though.
That's true.
Let's move on. Southampton 3, Wolves 1. Again, I didn't really see this coming, but Southampton have been good under Hasenhüttl.
No, I mean, I didn't particularly see the three outfield players that are left on the bench from this fixture returning 29 points between them. There you go.
You're not bitter.
No, not really. I mean, you said to me, you were messaging me the other night, and you said the thing about them three as well is they ain't going to do it again.
No, that's the thing, right? It's if you look at the law of probability, the likelihood of them getting returned 2 game weeks in a row.
But I
is very
disagree
low.
with that because the 2 defensive players would provide attacking returns.
Yeah.
So it could well have a clean sheet.
Clean sheet, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Redmond, I feel really pleased that I don't feel like, oh, what a dickhead, I left Redmond on the bench. I mean, the choice in my starting lineup was Redmond or Deeney, basically. Mm-hmm. And I went with Deeney because if I'd have left Deeney out, I know the response would have been, you leaving him out against a team that hadn't kept a clean sheet away from home all season.
Yeah.
It seemed like I had to go for Deeney. And Redmond always threatens this kind of thing, but never does it. And of course, I leave him out and he does it. But I think it did prove that I was really pleased because it meant it was the right pick.
Yeah. That was one where it wasn't a punt, it was strategically you'd made.
Well, I'd seen enough on the eye test to know that it could have been coming when I went to St Mary's in game week 30.
Yeah.
I mean, he should have got on the score sheet, definitely. He missed one great chance at a near post. And he's always threatening this. I've said for the last few weeks, I think he could be a really, really good player. And he's the sort of player I think Spurs should be looking at over the summer if they're going to look to invest in young British talent again. And he's a great option for the double game week. The players that you said you're considering for Camarasa, I think that it's definitely him.
Over Will Hughes and over James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's the sensible choice. The reason I don't want to do it is because, again, he's just returned. Is he likely to return again? But he's got 2 decent fixtures.
Also on Southampton, and it's important to say this with Wolves, the 2 of these rotate really well beyond 35. So Southampton play Bournemouth at home in 36, Wolves play Fulham at home in 37, and Southampton finish with Huddersfield at home. Mm-hmm. So they're good rotators. So this is another reason why I ended up going with Bolly instead of Dunk, knowing that I've got that Wolves Southampton defensive locked in. And I keep Duffy as well because I'm only going to play him double game. He ain't going to play again for me. Mm-hmm. Even at home to Newcastle in 36, wouldn't start him. I'd go with Yoshida at home to Bournemouth, I think. So they rotate really well. So again, if you're in that sort of, it's an expensive kind of gamble in that midfield area, but Redmond and Hotter, it could rotate really well if you end up with that pairing through the double with decent fixtures and then out the other side.
So somebody who had Valerie and say Johnny in defence, Jota and then Redmond in midfield and then Jimenez up front would be in quite a good position in your opinion. That would be me then.
Yes. Yes.
It does feel weird 5 out of my 15 players coming from Southampton and Wolves. But that's what I'm going to end up with. I've got 3 Wolves at the moment already in terms of Johnny Jota and Jimenez, the 3 J's. I
think Southampton's double's fine. I mean, Newcastle and Watford are aware of difficult games, but if you think about Redmond and his pace and what he can do on the counter works, the one that I think is really avoidable for Southampton, and I've heard it mentioned quite a bit since Deeney's red card Monday night, is a lot of people are obviously looking at replacements in Deeney's price bracket. If you've gone that way, or for the 1 or 2 people that also went with, like me, with Murray. No, not Shane Long. Obviously, forget that. He's Danny Ings, back fit and played really well at the weekend. He played one brilliant through ball for Josh Sims. Should have scored. Josh Sims made a massive difference for them, by the way. I said when I went down there, he's tidy and he's another one to really watch for next season. If you want real budget, consider him, by the way, although I'm not sure he'll play twice. And importantly, I don't think Danny Ings will play twice. I know FPL Gaffer, our Southampton correspondent, said this in the past, and I saw Lucy Hynett, who a lot of the Twitter community will know is a big follower of Southampton, and she tagged an article from Hasenhüttl from back in January, February, where Southampton had last played sort of twice in a week.
Yeah.
And Ings had just come back and he broke down again. And he's just come back again now. And he said, like, look, next time we have a period like this, he ain't going to play twice.
Yeah.
So if you go Danny Ings, you're probably getting one away fixture. If you knew he'd play twice, it's fine. I think the expectation on his previous records of injuries is that he won't play twice. Well, he won't start twice.
No. Let's move on. Manchester United 2, West Ham 1. Proving that we don't deserve the tag of beach team. I thought the performance was okay. After the game, so many people were saying how we were robbed. I didn't feel like it was a complete daylight. If you look at some of the tweets and stuff that people put out about how much we outplayed them or whatever, I didn't think it was that one-sided. But yeah, maybe we definitely should have got a draw and could have snuck it. When Antonio hit the bar, my heart was in my mouth.
And the header.
Yeah, the header was a good save, but the shot when he hit the bar, because there had been a bit of skill before that as well, that was tasty. He's back to where he needs to be, Antonio, and he can be a real threat when he's playing with that kind of strength and pace. That's his game, beastly strength and pace. But overall, I'd sold Pogba, so I didn't enjoy this one little bit.
Yeah, same. I took the Pogba decision based on knowing I'd probably need to make other moves to come off Brighton ahead of the double game week. And I think even watching the game, Pogba was deep, right?
He's very
deep. He scored the 2 goals because he got 2 penalties. Now, obviously, that can happen, as we've seen with Milivojevic and stuff. But it felt like the right move, actually, to get rid. When I tweeted on, I think it was Thursday or Friday night, and said, I'm definitely going to get rid, there wasn't anybody saying to me, well, you're making a fucking mistake here.
No.
And it was a tough call for me because I did have real value obviously built up in him. You know he's going to play twice in a double, as we always said. But that was a decision I made.
I'm still happy at owning
I'm not
Son
considering,
now.
before we come onto your team, because we need to have a good giggle about it, I'm not considering United for this week.
I'm not adding any more. I've got Rashford and I'm happy with owning Rashford. They're a different team when Rashford plays. When he came on for the last 20 minutes or whatever it was, just the movement up front, I was a little bit more worried. When you've got Lingard, Martial and Rashford coming at you, completely different proposition. I didn't like seeing him coming onto the pitch. So I'm happy owning Rashford. I just think he's a very, very good player and he's a very good price.
Rashford's fine.
But apart from that, I'm not looking at any United. I had originally maybe considered one of the defenders because the 5.1, 5.2 price bracket, they're not bad, but I'm not anymore. They're done and dusted.
For those looking to replace Deeney, if you can stretch up to that and you've already got Jimenez, then of course Rashford is okay. For me, having just sold him, I've made that decision with clarity. No, I'm not going back. No, definitely not. On the game, it was a brilliant watch, and
it was because it was one of those where sometimes when the quality is not as good, it ends up being end to end.
Absolutely perfect. You've nailed it. The quality in the first half was so fucking bad from both teams.
Completely bad, but it wasn't great. It definitely wasn't great. But then it was end to end.
Neither side could keep the ball.
No. Midfield was where it was
comical.
Really falling apart quite a bit. It's quite funny.
But in the second half, you really stepped up right from the off and were better, and you should have won the game. Do you think it's coincidental that you were better and Arnautovic wasn't there?
Do you think it's coincidental that you guys won 4-0 and Harry Kane wasn't there?
No, I think we were playing Huddersfield at home, mate. I think that is a major bearing on it.
People putting stuff out on Twitter, Spurs are better without Kane.
Yeah, cool.
Just leave him on the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say we adapt well without Kane. Go on.
No. Arnautovic hasn't been at his best, so are you saying we'll be better without the current Arnautovic that we have, or Arnautovic in his prime?
There were 11 players on the pitch in the second half who were all fighting for it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't think Arnie's not fighting for it though. I think he is. I just think he's out of shape. He doesn't look his fit, lean self, and he's just.
Well, that's his fault.
He's not in form. That's how I would say. He's not in form at the moment, and so yeah, were we better without him? Yeah, we were, but would we be better with him at his best? We would. So I don't know if that's answered your question, but at the moment, the thing is, you know what? There was quite a bit of laziness from Lanzini that I saw that I didn't really like. He's losing the ball and just sticking his arms up in the air and not really running back for it. You saw Messi lose the ball yesterday. My man sprints to get it back.
That's because it was Champions League game. In fairness.
I don't think it is. I think you look at City, they lose the ball and they're on your ass to get it back before you even know it. You got Lanzini puts a stray pass back and he's just like waving his arms in the air like, oh well, no, run motherfucker, run. He's shouting at the guy. Yeah.
To finish on your team,
skillful player.
Let me tell you what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks for West Ham. You'll get beat at the weekend by Leicester and you'll come to Spurs and you'll have the game of your fucking life. As you always say, you rise for these big games, mate, and you did again at the weekend.
Yeah. There was did you see that stupid guy on Twitter that put the video out that got retweeted by tons of people moaning about West Ham?
No.
He was, it was really funny. I can't remember his name or what it was. It was a stupid video that ended up going viral. He was just moaning about West Ham, Brexit club, useless, go back to East London. And his point was you always turn up for Manchester United and you always roll over for Liverpool and roll over for City and Chelsea. And everyone was obviously winding this guy up back. But I was like, yeah, I really felt like we rolled over when we beat Arsenal at home, drew with Liverpool at home. Okay, City did tear us a new one, but I did really feel like we rolled over for Chelsea at home.
Is it incorrect to say that West Ham territory, certainly going east, has a lot of UKIP followers?
I have no political knowledge, but more than likely, all I'm saying is we didn't roll. I think it's not fair to say we rolled over for the big sides, especially at home this season, which was his point that he was trying to make. Do we raise our game for United away? We haven't won there since 2005-06, so I don't know. You tell me. 15 years we haven't won at Old Trafford. So I don't think we do. City can make anyone roll over, do whatever they want. Roll over, bitch.
And talking of City,
yes.
Obviously still in the hunt after the win Sunday. I thought they were good, if unspectacular. I was quite disappointed.
I don't think Palace really gave them much of a challenge.
They were pretty disappointing, Palace. I can't believe Milivojevic fucking scored again. You knew when he was stepping up for the free kick, he's scoring it, right?
Yeah.
I think Ederson's carrying an injury. I think that from the Champions League game last week, and I thought he was very slow to get down to the free kick. I think that's the sort of thing he would normally save. Laporte is the obvious choice if you've gone without City defensive. I think a lot have. Yeah, he just always seems to play, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And unlike others, say like in Spurs' case, where I think Lloris is the obvious one to go to defensively, I think in City's case, it is still a defender. It is Laporte. That's not where I'd be diving into this week if you haven't got them. I'd be very much considering if it's affordable for you and you're not coming off Brighton assets, etc., then do keep a keen eye on who doesn't start for them tonight and know that you're probably going to go into someone for a gamble for the double game week just on the Spurs fixture. Because for us to go and play there twice in 4 days that's fucking horrendous. We could get a chase in tonight and then completely change the team again on Saturday. So I think if Leroy Sané doesn't play tonight, for example, he's locked in for me. I'll get him in. And the same would probably apply to Sterling and Aguero. That said, I think they'll play tonight. But if there is a scenario like that, go in. City won't take their foot off it for Saturday. And as I said, as harsh as it sounds, Spurs should prioritise the Brighton game and just look at City as a bonus.
Yeah, I've got Laporte and Sterling, and this late in the season now, with my premiums, I'm not pissing about. I'm basically buy and hold, because eventually over the course of 4 or 5 game weeks, or 4 or 5 matches, 5 matches over 4 game weeks, it will even itself out. I think Sterling will get me as many returns as if I were to move to Mane or Salah.
Yeah, and Kevin De Bruyne, just briefly, the one good news out of my wildcard this week
is going to probably be rested.
No, I said last week I think he'll play every remaining game now. He's fit and he's on it. I think Guardiola's comments after the first leg of the Champions League tie was, I don't know what that was. It was so weird. I don't know if that is some kind of motivator. I think he's the best midfielder on the planet.
Yeah, many do.
I think he can do everything. I just think he's been so unlucky this year with the injuries. And City are a different animal with him fit. I hope he don't play tonight. I hope he don't play Saturday.
Sure. The reason I think that he'll get rotated a little bit is not because obviously of ability. It's just they don't want him to break down again. He's had a horrible season with injuries.
When Guardiola said he had more trust in Gundogan and David Silva in the big games, I did not believe that for a second. I just thought it was some sort of motivating tool to get I don't know, something out of him, and you've seen both facets of De Bruyne and what he can do at the weekend. So that pass for Sterling is quite straightforward, but the weight of the pass is so perfect. And then for the third goal, when you saw him running at them and they were 3-on-2, you knew it was a goal.
Yeah.
Because you know
he's going to make the right decision.
He'll make the right decision.
Liverpool then countered that with a 2-0 home win to Chelsea. Again, I mean, I suppose you're going to say 2-0 comfortable, but they're not the 2 goals in the second half. Salah and Mane score, but both assists coming from defenders. I think next season, Robertson again, I may as well just put him in.
Has Jordan Henderson been repositioned?
Sorry. I read Henderson as Robertson.
Well, I wish Robertson had got a fucking assist, but
Robbo's going to be in my team next season from minute 1. Van Dijk might be as well, you know.
I've just gone in to check Jordan Henderson's price. It's 5.3 million. He's now playing in this sort of similar position to De Bruyne, really, sort of inside right of a midfield 3, and he's breaking forward. Now, I don't think that you can't go into Liverpool and go into that value, can you?
The thing is, you say he's playing. He's started 2 out of the last 5.
Yeah, but it's since he came on at Southampton in that position and made a real difference. And then he was getting into, honestly, like De Bruyne pockets on Sunday and breaking into the box. It was his willingness to go and close the ball and be first to react that created the first goal. I am not suggesting you should be considering Jordan Henderson. I was
getting confused there. Are you suggesting Jordan Henderson before a double game where Liverpool have a single?
No, I'm not suggesting that at all. I would go for Redmond at the same value, for example. But coming out the other side, he might not be if you've got, say, I don't know, Salah and you won't have Salah and Mane, but let's say you've got Salah and Robertson, for example, and you only want to get rid of a budget player for that game week 36. He might not be the worst pick. That is all I'm saying.
I couldn't disagree for Huddersfield at home. Yeah, he might be.
But obviously with Liverpool, you're going to go into the power, and my instinct coming into definitely the last 3 games, unless something changes over this double, is that I want a team basically full of Liverpool and Man City with a couple of splatterings of sort of like that Southampton Wolves rotation, for example, because you only see them Liverpool and City powering on now.
Yeah,
I think Liverpool can win it.
I think after this game week, I probably might only make two more transfers.
But that now at Cardiff, when we've said, you can't see him slipping up, that's a different ball game now, isn't it?
Yeah.
For Cardiff.
Yeah.
What would do Liverpool a massive favour is if Brighton shocked the FPL world and went to Molineux and won at the weekend, obviously with Duffy scoring and keeping a clean sheet. And then that 5-point gap's back on. But if Cardiff can go into the game Sunday and know that should they, as unlikely as it may sound, beat Liverpool and go above Brighton, we're talking about a different atmosphere of game, everything there. So Liverpool now don't appeal to me in quite the same way. Just to close on Liverpool, I'm not going to tell anyone anything they don't already know, but Salah's goal, fucking hell.
Oof.
What a goal.
Yeah. He hit that, he couldn't have hit it better.
But after the goal, Chelsea...
Keeper shouldn't have done better?
Do I think he should have saved it? I think it's
from that distance?
Possibly, but I think it's one of them, like, you ain't expecting that.
No.
If Salah shoots from there, it's normally always with whip. He's just levered the fucking thing, hasn't he? Yeah. So I don't think you'd be expecting that. Like, when he hit it, I think by the time it hit the net, oh my God, it just come out my mouth like an involuntary reaction, like, shit, fuck.
Wow.
That's up there with goal of the season because of the occasion as well, I think. But after the second goal, Chelsea for 5-10 minutes had an unbelievable spell, which centred around Hazard instantly moving from this false 9 position out into wide left position. Hudson-Odoi disappointed, by the way. He'll need to work. It's a sad, but at his talent, he's going to need to work on the defensive side of his game. Mm-hmm. And I was really surprised when I saw him in the team. But Hazard back out off the left suddenly was giving Liverpool massive problems. And he is absolutely firing at the moment on what I've seen in those last 2 games. Hazard could have got a hat-trick at the weekend. And so, he's not out of my consideration for Burnley at home with the single fixture. I think if I go for it, I'll captain him. It's not out of my mind. And then I would get him straight out as they go to United for probably Mane.
And what happens with Chelsea in the Europa League is not going to affect your decision in any way, shape or form?
I don't think so. They obviously won the first leg at Slavia, so I wouldn't expect Hazard to start the second game. And obviously next midweek, there's no midweek fixture for for Chelsea. They play Burnley Monday, and then it's Man United on the Sunday. So it will be strongest team. You know Hazard will definitely start if fit. So
Chelsea should beat Slavia Prague at home without.
They won't have any problems
without Eden Hazard.
Hazard will be sitting on the bench. They'll use him if they need him.
Let's see.
Just quickly, Rudiger, obviously injury. I don't know the extent of it yet. That's a big blow for them.
Massive.
Big blow because Christensen missed a 59-minute man. He's a decent centre half, but it's normally been when he's come in. It's normally been in for Luiz. Rudiger's quite an aerial power, and he's kind of. He's not a great footballer. I don't mean that to be unkind. Luiz is the footballer. Rudiger is a powerful centre half. They will miss that, and then you think of people like Wood Barnes are going to go there and try and bully them a bit. So just be cautious on Chelsea defensive assets. Burnley will probably score Monday night. Interesting.
Watford 0, Arsenal 1. If Watford had kept 11 players on the pitch for that game, you could easily see them win that game.
I thought Watford was so unlucky. I don't say that through
real disappointing
bias. I don't say it through bias. When obviously,
I don't begrudge Troy Deeney being sent off. I'm never going to cry when Troy Deeney gets sent off. Trust me.
Did you see? I think Mars went for him. You know that. You know when we went on the Three Amigos, he said never go for him.
Yeah.
And he went for him, and he got sent off.
There you go.
Mars, tweet me if I'm wrong, but I think he went for it, which is fucking hilarious. Watford started really well for the first 10 minutes. Then this freak goal happened, and then the red card straight afterwards. And from there, you think, well, Arsenal will stroll through this. And they really didn't.
No.
They really didn't.
No.
Clean sheet. But
just.
Yeah.
I think it's papering over the cracks is the phrase to use. It doesn't really...
Massive credit for Watford.
It doesn't give you any more confidence to go in on Arsenal at all.
Watford didn't just stay in the game. Like they gave Arsenal a football match. They really did. On Watford, briefly, because I know a lot are going to be looking at them. The obvious Deeney replacement is Andre Gray, in my opinion.
I liked Andre Gray all season. There's periods where I thought I would like to just own him as a player, but...
The interesting one will be, if Delafeo's not fit, Success might play twice at 4.5 million. But I think only if he's not fit.
But you only really want to move to a player like Isaac Success if you are trying to make money elsewhere. But we're at that point in the season where budget doesn't really matter as much. I don't know anyone who owns any 4 or 4.5 million forwards. So why would you make the move? You'd only make the move down to a 4.5 if you wanted to use the money elsewhere.
So you say that
at the 5 point something and 6 point something bracket, there are better strikers available who are likely to score.
Of course there are. And if you're saying to me, Isaac Success is going to play twice next week, do I think he will score? No, probably not. But it will do you favours coming out the other end. So I would look at it and go, if I go for Gray, fine, 5.9, he's probably not going to start for me again this season with obviously me having Redmond, for example.
After the double, you mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, when Southampton have the away fixture in 37, Watford are at Chelsea. So that doesn't work as a rotation. So I probably wouldn't be playing him again. Now that 5.9 for a forward is a lot of money to be sitting on the bench. And what I'm saying is, if Delafeo's out and Success is going to play twice, stick him in, possibly, and you can forget about it. And then it gives you more money for the final 3 game weeks. Because then to move from Gray, what you move into, so you could just forget Success. You haven't got to transfer him out, just forget him. He's third sub for the rest of the season, right? That's what I'm saying. Whereas with Gray, you're probably going to want to move again. So Success, as unlikely as it sounds, is a consideration. I do think that the best choice is Gray, because he'll likely play both. But so much with Watford will depend on if Delafeo is fit or not. Doucouré's okay, if you want to look down that route. I thought as well, considering Watford didn't have Delafeo or Pereira, it's a blow for them to go without. I thought they did really well. Defensively, there's 2 that I would consider. The obvious one people are asking about is Cathcart, because he's played the majority of the games. Obviously, I thought Kabasele played quite well on Monday. Who came back in for Mariappa, so Mariappa now sees off the table. I thought Daryl Janmaat was really good at right back. I know it's been highlighted that you shouldn't have passed it back to the keeper for the first goal, but I thought he had an outstanding game otherwise. And if obviously Delafeu and Pereira's back fit, it could be Femenia or Janmaat. So the alternative to Cathcart is Messina at left back, who had a great effort from long range, which hit the bar. He's 4.3. I know Sixth Goal, our Watford correspondent, doesn't rate him at all.
Some people look at Mariappa, not for you.
We didn't play Monday. So is Kabasele back in with Cathcart now?
You can't. They do rotate their
They do.
back line a lot
They
more
do.
than a lot of
Now,
other teams.
the reason I mentioned Messina is for that reason. He's obviously, as we saw Monday night, he's got a shot on him. And if Holebas has got a hamstring injury, if he's still going to be out, I assume this fella plays twice.
Yeah.
And it's another one. You're playing for the double game week. Forget about
leave
him.
him on your bench. I actually don't. I don't have any Watford players, and I do want one because I think they will probably win and get points. But I don't know where I'm going to fit one in without taking a hit.
Defensively, right now. If you're moving off Brighton, I think first of all you go towards Wolves, and I do think Bolly's the best choice because he's at least risk of rotation, and of the centre halves, he's the most likely one to get you a goal from a set piece. But failing that, if you've already got Bolly or Doherty and you want to look at Watford, I think actually, if Holebas is out, I'd go Messina. Take that gamble. Watford's the one you want to look at after Wolves. Huddersfield away, Southampton at home's all right. And then you can forget about it.
Yeah. The only reason I would personally be considering it is if I find out that Valerie is in fact out and I need to move away from him, and then I'll be moving to a Watford defender.
But Sixth Goal, who happens to be top of our correspondent league at the moment, he has said he would not recommend any Watford defensive coverage for this weekend. He thinks they'll concede in both games, in spite of the fact it's Huddersfield away and Southampton at home. He's the guy who watches them every week, so cautious.
Indeed. Let's talk about Brighton and Cardiff before we get into a few Twitter questions. We've got 15-20 minutes. So, I mean, Brighton, we're all sitting on Brighton assets. We're all sitting on Brighton assets. I'm grateful that I've just got Ryan and Duffy, and I'm happy to stick with them through the double game week, and then I'm just that they're going to be bench fodder for the rest of the season for me, really. If you have other Brighton attacking assets, Murray, Knockout, etc., you got to let them go now, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Is there anything that you can see in Brighton that makes you want to get any Brighton assets?
What, to buy now?
Yeah.
That might be the funniest thing you've ever said on this podcast.
So I'm just trying to, you said we'll talk about Brighton later, so let's leave them out of it.
Could you imagine you haven't had any and now you decide to buy them?
Someone will.
Well, we know that there are plenty of dickheads out there
will.
who go, oh, yeah, Brighton have got two, I'll stick him in or whatever.
I don't mind owning Ryan and Duffy. I don't think they're, like, you know what, this double game week isn't too bad. Let's just wait and see what happens.
It's awful.
Based off the back of last game week.
My take on Brighton is this. I think if you've got Ryan, Dunk or Duffy, fine. I think if you've got more than
three.
Oh, fuck, man. I'd seen a lot of teams who went for all three of those. And do you know what? It's easy to say in hindsight it was a mistake. I don't think it was. My take on Knockout was a real late decision for me. I took a look at it. I wasn't going to really benefit from a double defensive Brighton clean sheet against the community and trying to chase. So I tried to look at it from a different avenue. Now, that obviously turned out even worse for me, right? I think if you've got three, you've got to be moving off. I think to carry either Ryan or Duffy or Dunk as a singular is fine. And I think if you've got Ryan on one of them, it's okay. The thing with the double game week is you're leaving your shittest players on the bench unless you're doing shithousery, and you want your guys that are going to be on the bench. We say it all year long, don't we? If you can get 2 points twice from a Duffy, if you said to me now Duffy's going to get me 4 points in the double game week, I'd take that all day long. I don't think he will, by the way. But I think
you're hoping for 10.
Well, no, I'm hoping for 0. I hope we beat him about 8-0 next week, and he's on minus. But I'm gonna carry Duffy. If you've got the treble up, you've got to move off. So you've got Duffy and Ryan. Have you, or is it Dunk and Ryan?
I've got Duffy and Ryan. I managed to squeeze out the money to go for.
If you haven't got any problems, I'd just stick with it.
Yeah, I'm
particularly the keeper, because on any given week, you save a pen or something. Like,
yeah.
If you've got Ryan, don't stress about it. It's shit, but it's shit. Duffy, you know that in any game he could score from a set piece. You can't see a lot else from him at the moment. I mean, Murray had their 2 best chances last night, which included hitting the post in the last minute. Welcome to my game week. The forward ones have got to go. They've got to go. I don't think there'd be too many. Pascal Gross being back might make a difference, but they've got to go.
And the same for Cardiff. I don't think that there are any assets at Cardiff that I want. based on the price point and other assets that are available in the market at the same. Like Morrison at 4.7. You'd take Willy Bolly at 4.3 over Morrison at 4.7.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Camarasa, no double game week.
Again, the Iri,
4.9.
Morrison and Duffy, same price. I fucking love it. We've all made the same mistakes, so don't worry about it. Was it? I saw Turfy Topper, our Burnley correspondent, who obviously they played them on Saturday. I saw he went with Manga, who picked up bonus points last night as well. But yeah, look, we all made the same Brighton mistake. On Cardiff, if you're bench boosting this week, like say you are as a Camarasa owner, I think you move on, don't you?
Yeah, I'm moving on from Camarasa. So with a little bit of reluctance because I'm grateful for the 7 points.
The other thing with Brighton ahead of the double, and it obviously relates to Cardiff, is every year we keep talking about our teams on the beach, right? Right. Well, Brighton can't be on no beach now.
No.
Right. These are big games for them. So do we suddenly think, right, now the games have become more critical that we should take away from their assets when actually at the end of the season...
The answer is yes, because they're playing like crap.
They're fucking awful. But they'll need the points more than, your Newcastles and Palaces and stuff like that, for example.
Yeah.
So they'll need the points. Would it be that much of a shocker if Brighton went to Wolves and got something? Wolves this year have lost at Huddersfield twice. They lost at Cardiff, lost at Brighton, drew at Fulham, lost at Southampton, lost at Burnley. They've lost to a lot of shit teams this year, Wolves. So... don't rule it out. And Spurs might heavily rotate next Tuesday. If Spurs go full strength against City twice, then it gives Brighton a massive chance for the game on Tuesday, I think. Because we'll be knackered. And psychologically, to play City twice and then play a team like that who's so out of form, it's hard mentally to raise your game for it. So I'm going to keep Duffy. I think the forward players have got to go. At Cardiff, keep an eye beyond the Liverpool game. Because actually, Fulham away, Palace at home, there might be something in there.
Interesting.
Who do you think will go down?
Cardiff.
I think if Brighton beat Newcastle in 36, will stay up. I think it'll be that crucial for them.
It's Cardiff. That little bit of buffer room that there is going to just be a little bit too much to overcome. I don't think it's going to be by more than 2 points, but I think Cardiff are going to go down. Having said that, Neil Warnock's a canny manager and Cardiff have a way of scrapping out results. But Chris Hughton's also a good manager, so it's going to be very tight, but Cardiff.
They've got Liverpool at home this week, Fulham away, Palace at home, and then they finish at United, Cardiff. You could see them picking up points in the 36 and 37 games, couldn't you?
Of course.
Although a mad stat that I saw ages ago, actually, is that Palace have relegated someone in game week 37... I think it's for the last 3 years or something.
Oh, really?
And they play each other in 37.
Oh, okay.
Like a mad quirk, yeah.
That has proved that's definitely going to be Cardiff then. These things have a habit of becoming prophecies that self-fulfill themselves. We haven't got long, so let's get in some Twitter questions. You got a train to catch to Manchester.
In the sunshine.
Etihad.
I am fucking bricking it.
Right, we've got a bunch of Twitter questions that come in. We put the tweet out late yesterday, and we're recording early today. So
I love it when you say we.
Basically, yeah. But you do the official Planet FPL Pod Twitter account. There's a collective we. I'm
nothing without you, darling.
Which means we didn't have enough time to really prep these questions. They're coming in on the fly.
Prep what?
Prep. FPL crate digger at John Smith Spurs. Haven't heard from him for a while. Thanks for popping in a question. Is Mendes Lang essential?
Yeah, it's 0.0% owned. I think be 0.1% by the weekend. I'm sure.
Yeah, someone's going to buy him.
No, he's not. Oh yeah.
A shout out here to FPL_Frank Walsh 82 on Twitter. I got 99 problems and Brighton are 2 of them.
Well, Brighton are 3 of mine.
3 of his, so it could be worse. I think that makes your problems actually up to about 102. So FPL_OGS, OGS FPL on Twitter. Oh, I lost this question. Says, as a Duff, Dunk, Deeney and Ryan owner, do you think triple captaining this week and building bench boost for the last game week of the season What are the pros and cons, and are you sticking to bench boost 35 strategy? Well, you've already said that you are sticking to bench boost 35 strategy because you own 3 out of those, but you also chuck in Knockout and
So
Murray.
let's say you're in a position you've got the 3 Brighton defensive, and you're now looking at it going, right, I'm going to bench boost with these guys in 35. Wolves away, Spurs away. Would you be better off bench boosting with those guys in 36 with the 1 fixture at home to Newcastle? My argument with that at the moment would be, can you see him getting a clean sheet in any fucking game after those last 2? No. So I'll be doing it now. And like I said, there's every chance you bench boost with these guys in 36. Don't forget, 36 is before Champions League again as well, right?
Yeah.
So, if Spurs are playing, or at the moment, City are at Burnley on the Sunday, for example. Now, obviously, if City were to play Tuesday in the Champions League, that will get moved to Saturday. But either way, if City go through, they'll only have 3 days rest for the Champions League and away to Burnley. You want to tell me what that City team's going to be? Mm-hmm. So there's every chance you'd have a City asset who gets you a new pois, and you'd end up with a Brighton player on your team anyway.
For me, it comes down to simple maths, right? Would you, if in any given game week, if your captain scored 10 points, would you be happy?
Well,
10 doubled up to 20.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're thinking about triple captain, and you get your captain scores 10 points, you're going to get 30 points. That's 10 more than you would in a normal game week. Bench boosting, like I said, this week with a double game week, if I got 22 matches, I would be really happy, right? And in a normal game week, you could get 15 matches at best. So that's 7 extra games, 2 points per game. That's 14 points. So I've already got 14 extra points from a bench boost in this game week, even if I only get 22 matches, and I could get as many as 27 matches based on my current squad. So that's 4 points extra, plus the returns that I could get from those extra 7 games could make that 14 versus 10 even more. Now, yeah, someone could score a hat-trick and you get 20 points from your captain, so you're getting 20 extra points. Not likely. How often do people score more than 15 points in a game week? So just simple maths doesn't add up for me to justify doing it.
Was that simple?
Well, in my world it was. 7 extra games, 14 points. Triple captain, 10 points. Rough fag packet maths now ain't going to happen. I just don't think it makes sense. And the fixtures now with the rotation and everything, with the British clubs going so deep into the Champions League, now you got Watford in the bloody FA Cup final, Brighton at risk of relegation. This is tough this season.
There's been a lot of talk, and there always is when double game weeks go wrong. Remember, wildcarders, a lot of us wildcarded for game week 35, not game week 34, it's worth saying. But there's always the reactionary, isn't there? Oh, all the experts said go Duffy. All the experts said I should play my chip like this. Listen, I'm in that fucking boat and it's gone wrong for me, right? But if I had to do the same strategy all over again, I would do the same strategy all over again. Remember, like, if you want to bench boost in 36 instead of bench boost 35, you can. No one's stopping you. If you think that it's going to return better for you, go for it. I'm not saying it's awful. I'm not saying you can't do it. Not at all. My opinion is on your simple maths, I'll still be bench boosting in 35. I've no fault, even with the Deeney knockout problem, no fault to do different. They're going to be suspended for 3 games, both of them. So it's not like I'm getting one back for 36, is it?
No, exactly. So, yeah. Nicky Stone says, is Salah back? I mean, after that rocket that he put in the top corner.
Jesus, what a goal.
And he seemed to be in the mood. He was bopping around in the press conference afterwards and stuff. He's in the mood, but
you're gonna want.
It's a big. The problem is that it's not just about whether he's back now in terms of form. You got to find £13.2 million to buy the guy back.
Let's assume that they go through against Porto tonight. As I said last week, I think the date.
Fair assumption.
Yeah, I would say so. You don't know. Mad things happen. I think the date of their Champions League game in after the weekend of 36 really important. Like, if they play on the Wednesday after the Friday, then they'll definitely go full strength against Huddersfield. And then you've got to have 3. Be it you want to go 2 of Trent, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, or you want to go 2 from Mane, Salah, Firmino. I think you're going to want 3 of those 6, aren't you? Or Alisson maybe is obviously fine. You're going to want 3 Liverpool players for that game week. And I'll be triple captaining. Almost definitely Mane. Now I've said that, I'll get injured.
Well,
that's my season. And in which case, I'll be scraping for the money for fucking Salah again, won't I?
yeah, true.
Is he back? If you've got him, hold him.
I think it's so late in the season now. There's only a few game weeks left. Interesting. FPL Chancer Dan asks a question, and maybe the answer to this is going to be Salah. Is there a player you both just want to take a punt on for the run-in? No XG, no underlying stats, no nothing. You just want to get him in.
I feel like I've already done it with 2 players.
Kevin De Bruyne.
And Redmond. I feel like that because numbers-wise, in terms of attacking returns for the season, neither of them particularly warranted going in on it. So
yeah.
I know my 2 highest scoring players last week.
Yeah,
right?
true.
So, no, I feel like I've kind of already done that. I don't feel there's anyone that I definitely didn't go for on the wild card who was sort of not obvious, who I feel like, I just want to take a punt on them now. No, actually, I feel like those are the 2 players I've already done it, De Bruyne and Redmond.
I don't know if I have someone that I want to... If we're that late in the season that if I want someone, I'm just going to get them.
Yeah.
There's no kind of regret. The regret is actually with Arsenal for being so bloody annoying and crap, because I want one of Lacazette or Aubameyang for the running for the fixtures that they have, but I just can't trust the team to give me the results to justify the pick. So if there is someone that I want to go with, it's going to be Lacazette, but
yeah,
I'm not doing it.
Lacazette or Aubameyang. I mean, I hope they both do fuck all, obviously. But yeah, a lot dependent on who plays tonight. I might go for one or the other, or both, or neither.
True.
I don't fucking know anymore.
A lot of the questions that we got on Twitter will be nice and easy for us to rattle through, because it's basically people who are in a really disappointed state of mind.
Who want to sell their Brighton assets.
Adam35Who, shout out to Adam. Deeney, Dunk, Ryan, all while Bolly was third on my bench. At least double game week 35 will be better, right? Right?
Yeah, ask him if he had Yoshida and Redmond ahead of that third place on the bench as well.
FPO_Tika, whose Twitter name is FPO_Bailey. Should we all give up?
Nah, never.
No, we keep going till the end. We're not on the beach.
We're here for the people.
We're not on the beach.
We're for the people.
Yeah, is there a beach up at Manchester, like a little fake beach that they've created?
Can I be honest with you? It is at the state. When I just said, my rank's 250k, I said earlier in the pod, that was me scrolling through and looking, because I hadn't looked. I didn't want to know. I just looked.
FPL Chaos and Charlie Olsbrook have similar questions, both talking about strikers. FPL Chaos needs a replacement for Deeney and needs to be 6.4 million or less. Charlie Olsbrook also says, what's the best option to replace Murray with? Could it be Andre Gray?
It's the obvious one. He is the obvious one. If Delafeo's fit, there's a chance he doesn't play twice, I guess, possibly. As I said, it'd be really interesting if Delafeo's definitely ruled out.
Yeah.
Success. Could be, mate.
There you go.
Do you know
There's
what?
a punt for you.
If he's out, I might do it for the crack. Fuck it.
Yeah. All right, we got Carl at FPL Opinion. He's at FPL Opinion on Twitter. Glad Game Week 34's nightmare is over. He's come up with a random question. You don't watch Game of Thrones, do you?
No.
You've never seen any of the episodes?
Your wife watches it, so...
You're kind of loosely aware about it?
I'm normally looking for FPL fucking stats, aren't I?
So he says, which Game of Thrones character would you say best describes your podcast partner? Which is you for me and me for you, just in case you're worried about.
All I can think of is Gollum.
In case you're not a fan of Game of Thrones, swap to Marvel's Avengers.
Repeat the question.
Which Game of Thrones character best describes me? And I have to give a Game of Thrones character that best describes you.
Who am I? It ain't going to mean that to me, so I don't fucking watch it.
You?
Yeah.
Well, there's so many. You'd be Varys.
Great.
Do you know about Varys?
Yeah, cool.
He's a eunuch. He's had his balls chopped off. Even Matt Charles laughing at that one because he's a Game of Thrones fan. Yeah, you'd be Varys or one of the Unsullied, because they've all had their balls chopped off for one reason or another when they were kids.
You'd be. So I've got to pick someone from the Avengers, have I? I know most of them.
You can pick Game of Thrones if you
want. What's Thor's brother called?
Thor's brother. Ray.
Oh, Matt Charles in Loki.
I've seen it. He's an evil fucker, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Perfect. I thought it was quite nice, but
what's Scarlett Johansson? Who's she play?
I don't know. I'm not really into
Scarlett Johansson.
Captain Marvel?
Fit girl.
Captain in Marvel's
No,
Avengers.
what's her name? Widow or something, isn't it?
Black Widow.
Is it?
I
Is
don't
it Black
know.
Widow?
I honestly don't know. I'm not. I don't mind a bit Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and all that, but Marvel Avengers, it just seems to be a new movie every other week that comes out with
Who's
those guys.
the midget in Game of Thrones?
Yeah, Tyrion Lannister. I thought that was a bit too obvious. That's
Me.
That's why I went with the eunuch.
What's the actor's name?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Don't tell me.
I'm not that
Don't
much.
tell
of a
me. I
fan.
don't want to know.
There you go. Right, let's move on. FPL Geek Sweden wants to know -8 worth it to transfer out Duffy, Dunk, and Deeney. Well, you have to do that. So, you have Murray,
Duffy,
Deeney. and-
is it worth it?
Duffy and Dunk?
Yeah, I'd get rid of one.
One,
I
I would
don't
say,
think you want
not
to carry
both.
two.
Yeah,
The
me
problem,
too.
then is the one you get rid of would be the wrong fucking one. That's the number one reason why I never end up going with two, because I knew even with 2 clean sheets, if that had happened, I wouldn't have wanted to walk into 35 with it.
Peter Lajte also asked a similar question. Is it worth it to transfer out a Brighton defender for a hit? If you only got one, then no. If you got 2 of them, maybe you got the keeper, then the answer
I'm
is
assuming
yes.
a lot of these questions are probably based on the idea that people are bench boosting. Obviously, if you ain't bench
Exactly.
boosting, just sub the fucker, like, you know.
Yeah. DJ Newton says 43 points, James. Not sure if enough to beat you, but close.
Yeah, he
Sadly,
beat me.
it was.
Yeah.
Well, was there a bet going on, or?
Or if there was, I lost it.
My question: is there any point in worth risk to take hits to replace Brighton defence? Again, same thing. We've answered that. Guess what Lee Thompson wants to know about? Dunk, Duffy, and Murray. We've answered that.
Got any questions not about Brighton?
Yeah,
No,
Lee
we've
Thompson
done
also
it.
said, should wildcards be abolished next season?
Now that is interesting because a lot of people think scrap all the fucking chips, don't they? I don't think they'll change the game over the summer at all.
What I'm thinking about for the Planet FPL live show is to get a wild card made, a big fucking piece of card that says wild card on it, and people can just walk up to it and punch it. Stress relief.
You're going to put your 15 players out there.
Yeah, everyone can walk up to it and just we'll get a big board and it will say "Dear Wildcard," and anyone with a marker pen can write up and just say "Dear Wildcard." Fuck off.
We'll do that at the live show.
Yeah.
Our 15 horror picks of the season.
I don't know about 15. Maybe we'll do a couple because Manchild mansplaining his team is going to take a little while.
Oh, that'll be the 2 hours.
Exactly. Other questions revolve all around Troy Deeney replacements, Glenn Murray replacements, what to do with Dunk and Duffy. So we're going to wrap up because you got to get to Manchester.
I know there's one question there about Spurs and about if I've looked at something. Someone sent in a question.
Yes, tell us the truth. Have you had a sneaky look at tickets to Madrid?
Who asked that question?
FPL Bielsa.
Oh, yeah, he's
Yeah.
cool. No, I haven't. And I also haven't looked at Eurostar or EasyJet to Amsterdam either. And I will not be doing anything of the like until we're through.
When is the draw?
Or through. We know we're playing Ajax.
Oh, okay, it's already been drawn.
Yeah. Would you reckon Planet FPL live from Amsterdam?
We know we're already playing Ajax. If we win this evening,
That's what
we'll
we should
get a
do.
draw.
Planet FPL live in Amsterdam on Hash Browns.
So I'm going to Amsterdam the second to last game week of the season for the weekend. So I'll scope it out.
Oh, right. Because
Yeah.
we'll be there the midweek after if we go through.
Oh, really?
Yeah, honestly.
Because it's bank holiday weekend on the 6th of May.
Yeah, so if we
So
go
I come
through
back on the
tonight,
bank holiday.
we'll be in Amsterdam on the Tuesday and the Wednesday.
Really? So if you're
Yeah.
there on the Tuesday, I'll send my missus back on the Monday. I'll stick around for an extra 48
Yeah,
hours
mate.
and hang out with the Spurs fans in Amsterdam.
Planet FPL live mashed up in Amsterdam.
That would be fantastic, and no joke. I'd cancel my return flight, spend an extra day there, and the 200 quid or whatever it cost
You
me be well
Definitely
worth it.
won't want to be in Amsterdam with thousands of Spurs fans. Mate.
To record a live show, I will. Let's wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for listening. While we're on the point of thanks to the dozens and dozens of people that have sponsored me for my London Marathon. We're now talking about 10 days away, man. Time is ticking. Not this Sunday, but the Sunday after. We've raised over £1,250 for Haven House. All in all, I'm close to my £2,000 that I want to raise for the charity. So thank you for that. If you check your email, you have sponsored me, you will have seen the code for the Haven House Marathon Appeal League. If you do enter that Haven House Marathon Appeal League for game week 35, 36, 37, 38, Manager of the Week is going to win 10 quid cash. Manager of the 4 weeks is going to win 25 quid cash. There's 65 quid up for grabs. Doesn't matter how much you sponsor on the link that we've put out on Twitter. It could be a quid, could be 2, could be 5, whatever. Every penny counts. So if you are interested in being part of the mini little charity league that I've put together, that 65 quid's coming out of my pocket, not out of the marathon raisings or nothing, straight up out of my pocket. So I do appreciate it. You will have an email with the code for the league. Check your junk mail box. If you haven't, then please DM James on Planet FPL Pod. He's got the code as well to forward through via DMs. I know I don't necessarily follow everyone to the extent that you do, so it's easier to DM James, and also you reply quicker.
Yeah, there is that.
There's that as well, right? So please do. If you have already sponsored me, thank you so much. If you haven't, then do look out on Twitter on my page or James's for the link. I really would appreciate it. Do keep your eyes peeled for the link that James sends out about Planet FPL Live. We need you to register your interest. As soon as we've got all the final details listed and the event listing is up, which will be through Eventbrite, you're going to be emailed a link to that, and it's going to go out to people that are pre-registered first to give you advanced kind of couple of days to get your tickets sorted. So do that. Good luck with Game Week 35. Hit that bench boost button after you've seen the team announcements. I hope it's not as bad as Game Week 34. Other than that, I think we're done. I'm out.
Just before you go, really difficult to highlight individuals who've obviously donated to you.
Yeah.
But there was one incredible gesture.
There was.
Over the weekend.
There was.
From Gareth Edser at FPL Could Be Worse, who won FPL Family's Manager of the Month. And
correct.
Their Manager of the Month gets a £100 donation. Now,
yeah, they get a kit bag voucher.
Yeah.
So he could have spent it on anything he wanted for himself. An Everton kit. I think he's a toffee.
So this guy is on their he was on the web chat with them, and they obviously then put it on their live stream. Lee and Sam generally had no idea what he was going to come out of his mouth and say when they asked him what he was going to spend the money on. And basically, Gareth, who's got one of the best beards I've ever seen in my life, decided to tell Lee and Sam, donate the money to you.
Yeah, that was really something, and I really appreciate that. We've got Matt Childs cut that video clip out for you to be able to retweet on Twitter, which is going to be really nice. So thank you. I had another donation from at Burlap with double P, 153 quid.
That's incredible.
The generosity of you
some
lot is
astonishing sums.
Stupid.
And massive thanks as well to Lee and Sam for highlighting it as well.
Yeah, of course. Anything that raises it. We're looking forward to hopefully as many of you we can meet in person so that it's no longer faceless. Will be awesome. Planet FPL Live. But I'm done with FPL for now. I need to take a bit of time out, a couple of days off.
I'm going to Manchester.
Enjoy the Champions League. And do share the podcast with all your friends, family, etc. Anyone that plays FPL that you think could get value out of it. And do find us on Twitter at Planet FPL Pod, at Sujan Shah. Ciao for now.
Good luck, everyone. Cue music, man child. Oh, Matt child.
Any child.
Any child.
The Fantasy Football Show.